Ladies and gentlemen, Ralph Emery plays Nashville's best music on
W65
Again, hello everybody. This is Ralph Emery in Reno, Nevada with Merle Haggard. This is Merle Haggard Night on WSM. And in about an hour from now, we will go to the main room here at Harrah's Reno and bring you, without interruption, the Merle Haggard Show. So you'll be on your own out there, stud.
Well, I've been on my own out there for a long time, I'm going to tell you.
Are you dressed for the show this evening?
No, Ralph, and you're sitting right in my dressing room, and I refuse to get naked on at WSM. I will not do it.
You going to go to another dressing room?
Yeah, I'm going to pull my clothes and go to another dressing room, about a quarter till, I guess. And,
take you 45 minutes to get dressed?
No, but I've got to think about this thing that I'm going to do on WSM.
Oh, I see.
I need a little time to kind of throw it together.
Let me ask you this. What can we expect tonight when we hear the show? Will it be traditional Merle Haggard hits, new songs, or what?
I'll try to make it interesting and try to possibly paint a picture of what's going on here in Harrah's Club tonight. And probably I wouldn't talk near as much as I'll have to talk tonight to explain that and paint a picture for them, but I'll try to remember how the old radio shows were done and not assume that they can see what's happening and tell them about it.
I think we should talk about Tiger Bell, who will be on the show after a while. Tiger Bell is a 10-year-old fiddle player. Merle, I wish you'd tell our audience about him because he will be featured in tonight's show.
Well, Tiger is a very interesting young man. He's 10 years old and he hails from Chico, California. And he's been playing the fiddle for about 2.5 years. He started 2 years ago, Thanksgiving Day. And he's incredible. He's playing the fiddle like a grown man who's been playing 30 years. And there's not many ways to describe him.
You want to light that cigarette? Fuzzy's holding your light back there.
Watch that flame.
Tiger was with us on Pop Goes the Country, and I believe at that time you told me he is a prodigy and knows some 400 fiddle tunes by heart.
Mm-hmm. That's right, and he's learning musical theory like you wouldn't believe. He's got Tiny Moore on one side of him, Roy Nichols on the other, and Eldon Shamlin working with him once in a while. He's got some pretty good people teaching him musical theory. And he's jumping in there, taking a course just like Roy or anybody else. You know, we have a deal in our band we might mention that of interest that no one knows when they're going to play. You know, this is a little game.
Now, wait, you've lost me there.
Except for the things that we choose to do exactly like the record once in a while, which is very seldom. They don't know exactly when they're going to play, and they only play when I tell them to play. And,
well, when do you give all these instructions after the show starts? You whisper all these instructions?
No, we have signals. And
what's a signal in this case?
Well, eye contact. That means you play.
You mean when you look at a guy,
right?
Like the boss?
Right. I just look at him. Just eye contact. If at the point in time when they're supposed to play or when somebody's supposed to play, whoever gets looked at plays.
I see.
And
I presume if you've been in this band a while, you know the signals.
Right.
I talked to Norman Hamlet tonight, and Norm's been playing steel guitar for you for about 9 years, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And Norm agreed that he could pretty well read your mind out there.
Yeah.
I imagine Biff Adams can do the same. Let's name the rest of the strangers who'll be out there tonight.
Well, tonight we'll have playing with us, looking from the audience to the stage, from stage right to stage left, will be Roy Nichols, Tiny Moore, Eldon Shamlin, and Tiger Bell. And then, of course, we go to the drums, which will be Biff Adam, and then stage left takes care of Mark Erie on piano, Jimmy Tittle on bass, Don Markham on sax, and Ronnie Reno on rhythm guitar. And to my left will also be Leona Williams, who will be working in the vocal area and does some guitar work with us also.
Now, will this, when we hear your show out front, will this feature vocals by anybody other than yourself?
Well, tonight it may. I'm going to ask for a couple extra songs from Ronnie and Leona tonight on this special occasion.
Oh, they'll sing harmony to you, right?
Right. See, normally on the road show, Ronnie and Leona both do their own show. Here, they have a ventriloquist, which I understand you're not going to broadcast. But
there is a comedian in front of your show, which runs about a quarter of an hour. We are not broadcasting that. Having not heard the gentleman's material, I was a little squeamish about putting it on the air.
Yeah.
For very obvious reasons.
Right.
So I decided we'd just start with your show. But there is a 15-minute comedy act ahead of your show.
Right. Well, the comedy act, it would have been suitable for WSM.
Really?
Yeah, he's very, very good. At any rate, Ronnie and Leona usually do a show, and here we're allotted a certain amount of time. The introductory even is recorded, and it is played at precisely the same time every night, and you can't be late for this show. You can't hold this show up. The show goes on, not must go on, it does go on. And so therefore we have 60 minutes from that time.
You mean the house requires you to stay on a schedule, a strict schedule?
Yeah, it's recorded on a time situation. It comes on. The introductory I'm speaking of.
Now the introduction, which the folks will hear as we start your live show, the little lady who will introduce you, that's the only part that's on tape.
That's the only part.
When she says, ladies and gentlemen, Merle Haggard.
Yeah, that's the only part that's recorded.
She will say the point of the common man. Merle, how did that come about?
You know, I really don't know, Ralph. It's something that kind of snuck up on me, and I don't know who first labeled our situation that, but it's been with us about 5 or 6 years now, and we started using it in the introductory because of natural reasons there.
You feel like you are the voice of the common man or the working man?
I don't know. It's an awfully interesting title to me, and as much as the songs that I've written, I guess, cater to those type of people more than anyone else, and I'm proud of it for obvious reasons.
Merle, I want to get Ronnie Reno into this conversation with the two of us. Ronnie Reno is a young man who has a musical heritage. We're broadcasting from Merle Haggard's dressing room at the moment here at Harrah's Club, and it's actually a nightclub, a casino, and a hotel, all in one complex. Ronnie Reno, what is this wild story you were trying to tell us earlier about your great-great-grandfather or something or another?
No, it's true.
What's true?
Really. Well, back, I don't know, it's probably great-great-great-great-grandfather, but anyway, there was...
How old are you, Ronnie?
Ralph always sound like the FBI.
Well, anyway, like many years ago, say when the James brothers were around, why, there was some Reno brothers, and there was 4 of them, and
You were kin to the Reno brothers?
Yes, I am. And so 3 of them came west, and 1 went to North Carolina and South Carolina, in that area. And Major Reno was one of my descendants. And
Major Reno, wasn't he at
Ancestors, right.
You're talking about the Major Reno at the Battle of the Little Bighorn?
I don't know if it's the same dude or not.
There was a Major Reno with
really?
Custer.
That could have been the very same one. He was
a major
He was a gambler, right?
Major
But are you telling me that one of your ancestors named this town?
Yeah, my dad told me that was true, yeah.
How is your daddy?
He's fine. Doing just fine.
I mentioned that Ronnie is from a musical family. Don Reno, of course, is your papa, and you played in his band when you were a little kid, didn't you?
Yeah, I started in his band about the same age Tiger Bell is now.
You were 10 years old?
Yeah.
How long did you play with papa?
Played with him for 12 years.
Did you go to school?
Yeah. Yeah, I went to school. We were doing an early morning TV show in Roanoke, and I'd do the TV show and then go to school after that.
So you grew up playing and singing in a band.
Sure did.
Would you like to sing on this show?
I'd love to.
I think we have your latest records prepared back at WSM, so why don't we turn it loose?
Fine.
Let's sing a freedom song. Sing it loud and sing for me.
You've heard Ronnie Reno sing on our show. We are here in the Merle Haggard dressing room with Ronnie Reno and Merle Haggard. Ronnie, you do a good singing job, my friend.
Thank you very much, Ralph.
I believe that's the same song you performed on Pop Goes the Country.
That's right.
I want to turn to you for your version of these Merle Haggard signals that he gives on stage when he turns and stares at you.
Well, no, he doesn't stare. Merle, he'll take his fiddle bow and he'll point to you if he wants you to play, or he'll look at you and or give you a signal. Most time we know what he's going to do. We just, we've been with him and we can tell when he's going to do something. But it does make it rather interesting.
I imagine it does make it interesting. This is a pretty big band, too, as country music bands go. It's a bit bigger than most, isn't it?
I would think so. I think there's 12 of us all together.
And normally the complement would be no more than, 7 or 8?
I'd say, yeah, something like that.
And for obvious reasons, that those are a great number of musicians to support.
Yes.
Because the leader not only has to pay you, he has to pay for your hotel bill, right?
Yeah.
What else does he have to pay for you?
Well, Merle pays everything for us. Anything that it doesn't make any difference what it is.
Buy your food?
Yeah.
So when you get your salary, then it's all net.
Right.
Except what you have to pay Uncle Sam.
Right. We're very fortunate in that area because Merle, he takes care of his people.
Merle, would you get back in here a moment? I got another question for you, buddy. And then, because you've got 5 more minutes here before you can go get dressed.
Yes, sir.
Huh? The Merle Haggard career I have been fortunate to follow for about 10 years. And Merle called me one time and asked me to play Swinging Doors for me on the telephone, and I said, I don't know, Merle, I don't think much of that. And it became a #1 record. And we worked together on a lot of shows, and I had the pleasure of going to the White House when President Nixon invited Merle to come and present country music that night. As a matter of fact, Merle, we were there. We didn't realize it at the time, but we were there at the height, I suppose, of the Watergate crisis.
That was the day, I think, that they discovered it was going to be a big problem.
I believe that was around St. Patrick's Day, 1973.
Mm-hmm.
And looking back to those times, you had several private conversations with Mr. Nixon at that time. Did he seem like he was a distressed man?
No, he didn't show any signs of being distressed about anything that night. I thought he was one fantastic host, and was very impressed with him as a man, and compared to what you see on television and the personality that came across on television was certainly not that of Richard Nixon. And I was pleasantly surprised to find that out, because I didn't really particularly like the man.
You mean before you met him?
Right, and I respected his position and all that, but just personality-wise, and he was certainly different in person. And I remembered wondering why that someone wasn't able to get his personality across the way the man really was. And I think you probably remember experiencing that.
Well, he was very affable, I recall. And the night we were there, he allowed everyone to tour the White House upstairs as well as the downstairs area and the Lincoln bedroom and places like that. I wondered if, after meeting the man and liking the man, if you were somewhat disillusioned by the result of Watergate. Did you find it hard?
No, I think that the situation turned out the way it had to in order to uphold justice. And I don't.
Were you surprised? Were you one of those people who believed President Nixon when he said that he didn't do anything wrong?
Well, here we come across the question of what is wrong, what's right and wrong. I think he was loyal to his people.
No, I'm talking about what you believed when he would get on television and...
did I believe him?
Yes.
Prior to meeting him, I never did believe him.
No. I'm talking about after meeting him and liking him. And then, as you recall, there were a number of news conferences on nationwide...
Before the truth came out,
yes,
speaking.
Right.
Well...
do you find it hard to believe that he might be dishonest?
At first, I had a tendency to go along with what he said, and as the thing drug on, of course, the writing was on the wall, and I tried to imagine the situation he was in, and I think since that time they found that not only Richard Nixon, but several presidents in the past have been in situations that would have been just as serious had they come out into the open.
Had the information been revealed, you mean?
Right, and you can't help but have a little compassion for a man who spent his life in politics and made it to the top, and then have a black mark such as that or a thing happen to him the way it did. And I don't really believe he was responsible. I think he was responsible for giving too much authority to his people under him.
As I recall, in talking to some of the people around you, Mr. Haldeman was the man who set up the Merle Haggard show in the White House. Is that correct?
I think so, yeah.
I'm going to change the subject here because you're going to have to go get dressed in a moment. I'm wondering if you can recall now the first night you were ever placed into the situation where you had to work the big room either in Las Vegas or in Reno or Tahoe.
Yeah, I remember them pretty well. They're pretty big nights because...
You recall the first one?
I don't recall the first one here. I just worked Vegas for the first time at Harrah, which was quite a thrill, not too long ago. And
yeah, is it
Frank
tough?
Sinatra's down the street.
Huh?
Frank Sinatra was down the street. We have several other big-name entertainers. Wayne Newton, who is known as the Midnight Idol and throughout the Nevada circuit. And
the Midnight Idol?
Right. And he does have one fantastic show. And he was down the street. And, of course, I had his support as a fellow entertainer. He's a wonderful guy. He plugged my show every night on his show, you know, and things of that type. And but you have all this entertainment around you, and you know that the people have a choice of where they want to go. And when you get into that situation, you can't help but think about it just prior to showtime the first night, and wonder what the outcome will be. And when it is good, when it comes off good, it's quite a good feeling.
Merle, do you think Nevada audiences are a little jaded? Do you think they're hard to entertain because they've seen so many great entertainers and have those choices?
I think the people come out here with the attitude they'd better see something, you know, especially a loser. You know, and
you mean you have to prop up the losers?
Yeah, and you know, really, when the old boy gives up on the tables and he's mad and his wife is wanting to go see Merle Haggard, you know, he may not be in too good a mood about the whole deal, you know. But
Merle, I'm going to let you go back to your dressing room. According to my watch, we've got about 7 minutes before 10 o'clock. Leona, I would like to talk with you in a moment. I wish that after the show tonight from the main room, I'll be back here for a little while longer, and you would drift back by here.
I'll come directly down, Ralph.
And I'll get some more of your reactions before we sign it off and send it back to Nashville for good.
Okay.
Okay?
You bet.
And we'll look forward to hearing you from the main room here at Harrah's in about 37 minutes.
Okay, I feel like Cassius Clay getting ready to... or Muhammad Ali, I'm sorry.
Getting ready to fight?
Did you see that fight the
I
other night?
did. It was a horrible fight.
Oh, my goodness.
Terrible fight.
At any rate, we will be back.
All right. We'll let Merle Haggard go since he's not going to dress in his dressing room, it really doesn't. That makes it. This is not really Merle Haggard's dressing room anymore. It's our broadcasting studio. Anyway, we'll let him go get ready for the show, and we'll pause here for this special word.
Care, Box 13043, Atlanta 30324. That's Box 13043, Atlanta 30324.
This is Ralph Emery in Reno, Nevada, the site of the Merle Haggard show tonight, which we will be listening to in about 35 minutes. With me is Leona Williams. Leona is the very pretty young lady who is featured in the Merle Haggard show. Leona, you make your home in Nashville, don't you?
Yeah, I live in Hendersonville.
As a matter of fact, I understand that 3 members of the Merle Haggard show live in Nashville.
That's right.
You and Ronnie Reno, who else?
Jimmy Tittle, the bass player.
And I understand you're going to go back on the same plane that I do tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right.
Isn't it difficult living in Nashville and working in a band that operates off the West Coast?
Well, not really, because we can just fly, to the first date and then ride the bus, or like working here, we stay here. Like today's the first time I've been out of this building since we got here, and I got to leave tomorrow. There's so many things happening. It's so much fun.
Today is the first day you've been out of the building?
That's right. Since we got here to Reno.
When did you arrive here?
We've been here, this is the 7th night.
Don't you ever want to just get out and walk around?
Yeah, I guess so, but we don't, because we work late and stay up, and we just don't, by the time we sleep, we don't have time.
By the time you finish, and I'm going to use Reno time, by the time you finish the second show tonight, and I presume wind down a little bit, do you have dinner after the second show? I know most entertainers usually eat after they work.
After, right.
It's difficult. If you've ever made speeches, you'll understand this, or ever tried singing, it's hard to do it on a full stomach. Although Merle has been snacking a little bit. So I presume this entire crew will have late supper after the show.
That's right. And back there in Nashville, the time that we get through with our show is like 3:30,
But what time is it here in Reno when you're finally finished?
Around 1:30.
What time do you get to bed?
Sometimes it's 8 o'clock in the morning.
8 o'clock in the morning?
We go downstairs and play Keno.
Oh, you go down. You go down to the tables, the gaming tables.
Just about every night.
As I mentioned earlier, we are in the heartland of entertainment, all kinds of entertainment. There is a publication here, as there is in many cities, listing the acts that are featured at various clubs here in Reno and at Tahoe, and in Sparks and various other little places around here, because every little town seems to have a casino and a club, and it has either a major name appearing or some young act that perhaps you haven't heard of, but obviously they have talent or they wouldn't be working. And Harrah's, of course, holds a key position here in this part of the world because they book the biggest names. We're going to have to pause here and bring you NBC's News on the Hour. Leona, I'll ask you to stay over with me, and we'll come right back after NBC's News on the Hour, and I'd like to feature your record on this show.
All right.
Okay, so will you do that? Sure. Chuck, if you have a little instrumental music to take us all the way to NBC News, now would be the appropriate time to play it, and then following the news, we'll return to Harrah's Club in Reno, Nevada.
This is WSM Nashville, 50,000-watt clear channel broadcasting service of the National Life and Accident Insurance Company.
NBC Radio News. Good evening. Jeff Thompson reporting President Ford's prediction that his narrow primary victory in New Hampshire will be a springboard to the GOP nomination, which will in turn lead to the November defeat of the Democratic nominee.